going on, YouTube? It is your girl Lauren Finesse, and I am back, but I'm back with a different type of video today. This is a life update video because my life has been very, very hectic this past week, 2 weeks. I would say 2 weeks. Yeah. So I am a very private person, and I don't put people in my business that are not in my circle. I definitely keep my business very private, and it should be that way. I'm not somebody that needs attention, that needs people in my business, that need people to know what's going on. As long as the people around me, who are the people that I trust, as long as they know what's going on with me, I know what's going on with them, everyone else is kind of like, it doesn't matter to me. But I have had a very tough, traumatic, exciting, sad past couple of weeks. And I thought I would talk about it. I think I have a lot of things on my channel, but I don't have anything that's too personal. And I think when you go through something traumatic, it is a good idea to talk about it and to get it out, because not to get it out, but not only to get it out to make yourself feel better, but also because there could be someone else going through something very similar, and they need to hear that it's going to be okay on the other side. There's someone that may be going through something similar or different, but they need to hear a testimony. They need to hear it gets greater later, and that the sun does indeed come out after the rain. So anyway, I'll get through this. Hopefully I do not tear up, because I am not a fan of people crying on camera. But I'm just going to be as honest and open as I can be. And I hope that everybody receives it and appreciates it on that level. I'm just being open. So, first things first, where have I been? Well, I was shopping for a condo. I knew I needed to move. I'm moving out of my place here. I didn't need all this space because my son moved out, which a lot of people may not know that I have a son, but I had my son young. And he is he's of an age where he doesn't want to be, he doesn't want to hang out with his mom. He has his own life and job and school, and so he has his own thing going on. And so a lot of people don't even know that I have a son. So anyway, I was looking for a new place because it was just going to be me and Julio, my dog. If you don't know, me and Don Julio. And I found a place, and it took about, I want to say about 30 days to get like all of the paperwork and everything finalized. And then, another 2 weeks for like inspections, appraisals, and all this other kind of stuff. So I found a place here in Chicago in South Loop, which is the area I wanted to be in. The housing market right now, like, there was a lot going on, but I found something that absolutely fit what I needed, and it's nice, and it's, like I said, the location, the amenities, everything that I need. So I was happy, but it was very stressful going through the process because, if you've ever bought a house or property, there's so many different things that you have to do, and you have to do them in a certain order to get to your closing date. So I'll speed up. I finally get to my closing date, and I go to the title office, and everything is on track except for the appraisal report. So I purchased my condo, and I also purchased the deed to my parking space, which, by the way, why are parking spaces $25,000, $30,000? That's nuts. My parking spot was, I believe it was like 28. But all the places I have been looking at, all the parking spots were 25 to 30,000. So anyway, the appraiser put the wrong like ID, the tax ID for the parking spot for the deed. He put it incorrectly, and so the title company was like, we can't process, you know, this part of your closing until the appraiser update. It literally was one number off. So I was at the title office all day. I had signed all my paperwork with my lawyer and everything. Was gonna meet up with my realtor right after to get the keys. Everything's supposed to be done. The appraiser literally was like in the field doing other appraisals, I guess. And so that was a Thursday. The entire day I spent at the title office. I finally left at 5. The lady at the title office said, she says, once he sends over the corrected deed number, she's like, you already signed all your paperwork. You're done. You're good. We'll just update the paperwork. And we will cut you a check. Because if you know anything, when you buy a house, you have to put down, not your down payment, but you have to put down earnest money. And that's usually like 1 to 3%, I believe, of the amount of the property you're buying. So with all of like the credits and things that I had worked out with the seller, I had a nice little check coming back. So, but I can't get the check cut until everything is finally closed. So I was like, okay, whatever. I was like, don't mail me the check because the mail in my neighborhood is terrible. I said, don't mail me the check. I'll come and get it. I'll go to the downtown office and I'll just pick it up. So she said, okay, cool. Thursday night, after having a long, stressful day, I go to sleep. I get a call at 2:30 in the morning from my son's roommate. And he's a white boy. So like his voice, as soon as I answered the phone, because it's 2:30 in the morning, it woke me out my sleep. His voice, I actually thought it was like the police. And I could hear like an ambulance or a fire truck, you know, that exhaust sound. I could hear that in the background. So I initially thought it was the police calling me from my son's phone. And I was like, oh my God, what did my son do? Is he okay? You know? And it was his roommate. And he's like, hey, you know, I came home and I found, I'm not going to say my son's name. You know. Hey, I came home and I found your son unresponsive. I called the ambulance. They're here now. They're taking him to this hospital. I said, okay, I'm on my way. I'll meet you there. I jump up, I get dressed. So my son moved 10 minutes from me. Okay. So we're still in the same neighborhood, 10 minutes away. So the hospital was also very close to me as well. They took him to a hospital in our neighborhood. So I get to the hospital, and, you know, they're like, okay, he's in the ER. They're working on him. You know, they don't tell you anything when you first get there. And I'm just like, what's going on? I'm asking the roommate. I'm asking the nurses, the ER, like, what's going on? So they're like, okay, we just want to get you to sign some papers. You know, just get some information from you, da-da-da. We'll let you see him. So I said, okay. So I would say it was about 20 minutes. And I finally was able to go see him. And it was the scariest, most traumatic thing I've ever seen. And I have yet to get the image of my son in the ER. He had been found unresponsive. He was basically running out of oxygen. And so they had intubated him right away so that he could get oxygen into his body because he was basically not breathing. He was at like 2% breathing. Obviously at 0% breathing, you're not alive. He was at about 2%. They put him on the oxygen, they intubated him, and he was on 98% oxygen. So I don't know exactly if the numbers go that way, but if they're giving you 98% oxygen, to me, that means you're only doing about 2% on your own. Okay, or maybe there's a delta, maybe 2 to 10% on your own. Okay, I'm not a doctor, so whatever. So I see him and it's like he's asleep, but his eyes are awake. His eyes are red. He's just staring past me. I'm looking down at him and he's staring past me, just completely out of it. I wasn't expecting to see that. So I go back out. I talk to the roommate, like, what happened? He's like, I don't know. He's like, he was supposed to be at work at 5. He never showed up for work. And then the roommate didn't come back home until 2:30 in the morning, which is when he was found unresponsive. So he hadn't seen my son since 12 noon Thursday. So I don't know exactly how long my son was unresponsive and just passed out. But at least from, I would say from 4 p.m. to 2:30 in the morning, he was passed out because he didn't show up for work. So they put my son in the ICU. He's intubated. They put him in a medically induced coma because his vitals, his heart was beating out of his chest. His blood pressure was high and he couldn't breathe. So they, you know, if you've ever, you know, known someone that's found unresponsive, they're going to sedate you by putting you in a medically induced coma, and they're going to intubate you to help breathe for you. They're going to put you that way until your vitals start basically working again on their own. So now it's Friday morning. My son is in the ICU. Visiting hours didn't start till 8. So I came back home. I didn't get any sleep. I called his dad. I called my mom. I called my dad. I just called my family, like, you know, I don't know what's going on, but he is in critical condition and I don't know what's going to happen. So Friday, we just wait. We wait to see what's going on. Everyone's at the hospital. Now, it's Saturday morning, because visiting is over at 8. It's from 8 to 8. So I leave there. I was there all day. I leave. I was calling his nurse every evening, like before bed, like, hey, you know, how are his vitals? How's he looking? How's it going? And I was calling every morning at 6:30 because the nurses change shifts at 7. So I wanted to make sure I talked to his overnight nurse for her to give me the update before they change shifts, because obviously the new nurse at 7 a.m. will not know what's going on. So Saturday morning, I call 6:30 and the nurse says, you know, hey, I said, how did it go overnight? How's he doing? Any progress? She says, well, he had 3 seizures. And Saturday morning, I completely lost it. I lost it. You know, when you have a seizure, that's never a good sign. And so Saturday morning, when I say I lost it, as soon as I got off the phone with the nurse and she told me that, I literally collapsed. I was in my bathroom and my room is connected to my bathroom, and I walked out of my bathroom and I collapsed on my bed and I just screamed. Even hearing myself scream like that, I was, oh man. Okay, 1 second. Okay. I just remember screaming so hard, so loud into my comforter. And I felt defeated. I really did. I felt like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I gathered myself and I prayed. I gathered myself. I prayed. I said, Lord, stay focused, stay positive. Don't accept that this is it. Don't do that. He's still here. Do not give up mentally. Do not give up your faith, your belief. Do not give up. So I let that scream out. I gathered myself. I prayed. And then I came to my laptop and because I have to be prepared, you know? So I had to come and I looked to make sure that I had all of the information for insurances and stuff in case I had to make arrangements. Okay, so that was tough. That was really tough. That was the toughest thing I've ever had to do. And I'm a businesswoman, you know, so I tried to get into businesswoman mode and just like, hey, no, this is not the time, but you want to be prepared. Just make sure that you have everything in order no matter what. And that's what I was telling myself, like, Lord, just focus on being prepared. Oh, goodness. Oh, my gosh. So, anyway, after I did that, it was coming up on 8:30, which was visiting hours. So then I head back to the hospital, and his dad is there. And we're like, what is going on? Like, he's been here now for more than 24 hours, and you guys are steady sedating him. Now you're saying he had a seizure. He had 3 seizures, da da da. So then we talked to the doctor, like the doctor, the head doctor of the ICU, that department. And he says, I don't think he had a seizure. So what happened was, he says his fever spiked to 102. And it was just his body kind of convulsing a little, but they said it was not consistent with a seizure. They don't believe it was a seizure, but they did give him some anti-seizure medication just in case, so that it didn't happen again. So I said, okay, what is the next steps? Like, I'm like, he's young. All the other people on the floor of the ICU were older. And I'm like, I'm not saying that he's more important than anybody else on this floor, because everybody's important in the ICU. Everybody has family. Everybody has something going on. I said, but he's young. He's the youngest patient here. He's a kid. Where's the urgency? Like, I literally went off on this doctor. And after I went off and his dad went off on the doctors, I promise you, it seemed like everybody was like on it now. Because I'm like, y'all are not finna fucking play with me and my son and his life. So they said it wasn't a seizure. So I felt better. I said, okay, but y'all are giving him anti-seizure medication. So, okay, y'all just being preventative. So I felt better that he didn't have a seizure, because I felt like a seizure, that would be very serious. That would be very serious. Some of his test results started to come back. He didn't have any bleeding on the brain. He didn't have any swelling on the brain. But he had a lot of fluid in his lungs, and they said he has pneumonia. But because he was so out of it, we want to make sure that he doesn't have like meningitis. Like, they just needed to like start eliminating things that it could possibly be. So they do that. And they said, well, to do the spinal tap for the meningitis, we have to turn him. So I had to sign papers to do all of that. Mind you, he's still in a coma. He's still intubated. So I signed off on that. They say when they tried to turn him, all this mucus came in his tube, out of his lungs. So they said, we can't do the spinal tap. We need to clear his lungs out. I don't understand why that wasn't on the list anyway before, but okay. So they do a bronchial, I don't know the full name, but they do like a bronchial whatever. And they take all of this fluid out of his lungs, and they send that for testing. As soon as they do that, his vitals start to get better, and he goes from, he came in at 98% oxygen to 80% on Saturday. And then after they pulled the phlegm out, on Sunday, he was at 50% oxygen. So his breathing was getting better, especially after they got the phlegm out. So they're like, listen, he definitely has pneumonia. He has a really bad case of pneumonia. And the doctor says, was he hit by a car? Like the neurologist, because they're looking at his brain. It's like, he was hit by a car, right? I was like, no, he wasn't hit by a car. It was, But apparently he was hit by a car. And his roommate didn't say anything to me. He told the ambulance. I'm happy he told the ambulance. But he didn't tell me that when I talked to him. And I understand he was probably scared. He came home and seen my son basically dying, and he actually did give him CPR till the ambulance got there. So I'm not upset, but I just wish he would have told me, because the doctors are asking me saying, oh, we heard he got hit by a car and he might have some brain trauma. And I was like, no, he was found at home. He didn't get hit by a car. Like, where, So I called the roommate back. This was mind you, this is now Sunday. I'm like, was he hit by a car? And his roommate's like, yeah, he told me he was hit by a car. So like a day or two before he was found. So apparently my son was riding his bike He bikes to work because he doesn't live that far from his job. He was on his bike coming from work. He got hit by a car. He didn't have any like major injuries, scratches, broken bones, but apparently he had a concussion. And the doctors believe that he had a concussion. He laid down and went to sleep, which if anybody knows anything about concussions, you don't go to sleep if you have a concussion. I'm sure he didn't know that. He was unaware. His roommate is older than him. I don't know why the roommate didn't know. Like, it just a mess. So they believe that he got a concussion. He went to sleep. At some point, he was having like, issues in his brain because he had a severe concussion from getting hit by a car on his bike. And then they believe that what happened was he laid down to go to sleep. He then vomited, and some of that vomit got in his lungs, which then caused him to aspirate, which caused the pneumonia. So it was just literally a series of extremely unfortunate events that led to him being in critical condition and in a medically induced coma. Whew. So once we confirmed that, they said, okay, we want to test his brain. We want to get him an MRI, and we want to do an EEG to test his brain waves and everything like that. We need to see what's going on in his brain. That was Sunday. So all day Sunday, I was happy that his oxygen was getting better, and he was slowly getting better. Monday was my son's birthday. And I said, oh, I hope they take him off this breathing machine today. It would be some level of divinity. It would just be like right on time and full circle on his birthday to be born in the hospital and then to wake up out of a coma on his birthday in the hospital. I just felt like it would have meant a lot. And that's exactly what happened, you guys. Man, we were all praying so hard. So Monday morning on his birthday, he was on 30% oxygen, but they said he was breathing over the machine, meaning he was breathing on his own and the machine was almost hindering him. So they said, we're going to extubate him, take the tube out. They had already dialed down him off of the sedation medication. So he was slowly starting to wake up. When I got there Monday morning, they were like, overnight he was opening his eyes because they had started to take him off the medicine. So I was so happy. And sure enough, Monday morning, I sat there with him and they took the tube out and he was awake. He was still very much out of it and dazed and confused, but he was awake on his birthday. I was like, I was so happy. I'm like, that's all I wanted was for him to be able to wake up and come off of that machine and come off of those meds, because a lot of people don't make it on the other side. And I definitely, I have some people that I love that were very dear to me that did not wake up out that medically induced coma and didn't make it out of the extubation. So that's why it was such a big fear of mine. So he's up. He can't hardly talk. He can't eat. They want to watch his throat, but he's up. Very much dazed and confused. He just was saying kind of weird stuff. So they said, we really want to look at his brain. So Tuesday is his dad's birthday. Him and his dad's birthdays are back to back. So Tuesday was his dad's birthday, and we spent both of their birthdays in the hospital. They said, we want to transfer him to a different hospital that has like, that are like more prepared for, this type of testing. And I said, absolutely, let's do it. And so by Tuesday evening, he was talking, but he was having memory loss and really not knowing what was going on, but he was getting better. I promise he was getting better like every hour. They were coming in to test him, like, what is this? And follow my finger and, asking him questions. Do you know what day it is? And things like that. And he kept thinking it was Friday, which would have been the day that he woke up. It would have been Friday. So in his mind, he had only been asleep for a day. It's like, no, son, you've been out for 4 days. So anyway, Tuesday evening, they transfer him to the hospital that he's still at today. I'm hoping he can come home today. But now he is up. He is awake. He's walking. He's talking. And he's at like 90-95%. Like his mental, everything is good. And the doctors were just saying like his age is what is on his side, because he's so young that his body is able to bounce back quick off of such a severe set of injuries and trauma to his body. His age is why he was able to bounce back so quickly. And so that's why I can talk about it today, is because I've literally made it through the hard part, and now we're just on the healing and recovery. So yeah, I just wanted to share that, because this has been, when I tell you, this is the worst thing that I've ever gone through. And as a parent, I can't even imagine parents who have to bury their children, parents who have to see their children in that condition. But my family, I'm so thankful to my family and friends. Like, everybody was praying, everybody was calling, everybody was checking in, everybody was sending love and support. And that really got me personally to this place. So I just wanted to share that that's where I've been. That's what's been going on. I was happy I just bought a condo, and then life happened and literally took me completely left, took my son left. And now here we are on the other side of it. And I'm just thankful. I'm thankful. So I don't know if anybody else is going through something, you know, you can message me, whatever. I definitely can say a prayer for you. I don't know what people are going through, but I think this incident, it has traumatized me. I'm feeling very anxious that, like, I don't want anything to happen to me or my family, my friends. Like, I'm so anxious, just like, I want everything to just kind of like go back to normal, or things just to calm down. I'm on edge and scared that like something else is gonna happen, because that's what was going on with my son. Every time we thought we knew what was going on, something else happened. And then something else happened. And then something else happened. It was just like a buildup. And I just felt like I needed to talk and get it out. And I've never been this transparent, never been this open. But I felt like I just needed to get it out, because maybe somebody else is going through it and they need to know just to stay positive and prayerful and really reset and get back to what's important. Family and living life in a good way. So that's all that I had. It's almost coming up on 30 minutes. I'm just thankful to everyone who said a prayer, who reached out. Thank you. My son thanks you. And I'm so ready for like the next step. Like, this has taught me that, you know, we don't have a lot of time here, and life can be gone just like that, from like freak accidents, or, you know, just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Anything can happen. And so I really want to step up which is so crazy, which I was already doing. I was like going to the gym every day. Like, I really was on top of it. I said, June, we're going into the second half of the year like the right way. We're closing out the first half of the year, going into the second half of the year the right way. And life just completely threw me off track. But I'm back, I'm focused, and it's time to like really get stuff done. Really like TCB, take care of business, and love on my family and friends. So that's all that I got, guys. This was heavy. This is very vulnerable for me. So I hope it reaches somebody and it helps them, and it gives them some type of like relief that everything will be okay. Just stay prayerful, stay focused, and love on your family, and make sure you tell them that all the time. Tell them you love them, because anything can happen. So, all right, guys, I will see you guys in the next one. It will be a happier note. I don't know when I'll do that, but I will do that. You have my word. And yeah, thank you for listening. All right, bye-bye, guys.